Hello, these are my musings about a primary school that I worked in. And I had to get the job because my husband had lost his job, and I had to sort of find something quickly. So I was doing all these applications, 70 applications, couldn't get a job. And the only thing I could get was dinner lady, or I think they call it lunchtime supervisor. It wasn't much, but I had to get something. And at the time, my son was getting lots of migraines. That was a real issue, and I was trying to get through the day, and a lot of the time I was being pulled out to go and get in from school, so it was a real big issue at the time. So all this was going on, and when I arrived at the school, it was a bit, how can we say, without being judgmental, rough around the edges, I think is what I'd say. The parents were quite mixed. The school looked tired. The dinner hall, they provided beautiful meals, I have to say. They did provide lovely meals for the children. They were lucky and they had hot meals. And the head was a bit of a sergeant major. She'd been in the army. She was I'm going to describe her as a dumpy little character. And she sort of went round showing people her scars, saying, "This parent bit me." And I'm thinking, where have I arrived? You know, I'd heard rumours about this place. And I thought, can't be that bad, surely. She's not going to go around showing her scars. Yeah, look at my scars. This person attacked me. And I thought she was okay. And after my interview, the deputy head said, I only wore a black jacket, black trousers. I mean, what do you wear to an interview? You're going to a school. I thought, I can't go in with an apron on, saying I'm the lunchtime supervisor with a wooden spoon. She said, don't come into school looking smart. We only dress up on Ofsted Day. I couldn't believe my ears. And I remember thinking, ooh, what do the rest look like then? The teachers, that is. And boy, they look like they've been dragged out of a dustbin. So, big baggy old cardigans, shouting, Oliver's escaped over the wall. Oh, Kyle's just done a whoopsie on the carpet. It was like that all the time. It's mayhem as I was walking through, and I'd be thinking, nobody is going to tell me not to look smart if I want to. You know, if I want to look smart, I'll look smart. Nobody's going to make me drop my standards for any title. And anyway, I started off, I wanted to be the learning supervisor. And they said, the teaching assistant, learning assistant in a classroom. And they said, no, you can't. Somebody's already had that job because she's already done it in the previous job. Even though I'd been an adult tutor, they weren't interested in that. They gave her the role. Anyway, as I'm doing my lunchtime supervisor role and scraping the dinner plates and filling up all the water at lunchtime and making sure the tables were out, put away and the floor was cleaned, I found out that the girl had walked out. Well, I was told that there's a vacancy now to be learning support in this year one class. And I was shocked because I thought, oh, she's obviously walked out. Because when I met the teacher, I thought, I know why she's walked out. I started to feel nervous. And this teacher was her first time in the role. She'd been doing other things in her life. And I remember thinking, well, that's good, because I like people who've done a mix of things. Shows that you've got a bit of something about you to do something else. And she was not the right person to be with little 5-year-olds going on 6. They were all so sweet, trying to please the teacher, and she was really going at them, shouting all the time. I thought, if this is the situation, I'm glad. No wonder my son gets migraines at school. She was shouting at them, and then she'd switch it and go, ooh, I've bought some nice biscuits for you. And the kids didn't want the biscuits because she'd already just shouted them. I mean, really shouted. I thought, you are the wrong character for this class. You should be in year 6, not belonging in year 1. Anyway, the whole thing was one big jumble from start to finish. And I was pulled in and out because of my son's migraine and whatnot. So I never went back at the end of that year. And also they brought somebody back off maternity leave, I think. But I didn't go back into the lunchtime supervisor role. Met some nice ladies, but others were bullies. And the biggest bully happened to be related to the assistant head teacher. So there was nothing we could do about that one. And I remember trying to help another dinner lady. I say dinner lady, I keep saying that, lunchtime supervisor. And she went, sit down, we don't help the likes of her. And I remember thinking, well, I want to help this lady, she needed help. And she was the one related to the head, the one that was saying, sit down, was the one related to the assistant head teacher. I couldn't believe it. I thought, I can't even whistle blow or say anything because, this woman's controlling everybody. And she was okay some of the days to me, but other days, you felt like you're being watched. Anyway, I got sort of into trouble by not reporting a child for having a mini Mars bar in the lunchbox. I thought, I'm not reporting any child if that's what their parents could afford to put in. But yeah, with sandwiches and that, I thought that's what the parents have put in. That's what they're putting in. I found it difficult to do a sandwich box. I remember thinking all these rules and regulations when my son went to school. You can't have nuts. You can't have oat bars, they've got sugar in. You can't have cheese straws because they're processed. You can't have vitamin strips. You can't have... And everybody was trying to put things that were in packets so that it didn't get all sloppy in the lunch boxes. So it's a difficult one to do lunch boxes. So easy if you can send them off to have hot dinners. But not every school does hot dinner, or did hot dinners when my son was growing up. But at this school they did. And they were good meals, I have to say. So anyway, when Ofsted arrived, now... Those peas were shooting across the floor like bullets out of a shotgun, I tell you. I said, oh my gosh, we're going to slip on the peas. It was one of those days. And I was scraping the plates, minding my own business. And an Ofsted inspector comes walking towards me. Not to the head teacher, not to the deputy, not to the other mouthy teachers who were shouting, be quiet, Kyle. No, not that. They come towards me. And she said, I'd just like to say the turkey burgers are rather dry. I thought, well, what's the turkey burgers being dry got to do with me? I said, oh, I shall pass the message on to the head. She said, if you wouldn't mind. The rest is okay. So that was that. Then I went into the classroom and we had PE. And I was throwing a ball to, say, the little girl was called Emily. I was going, well done, Emily, you can catch that ball, well done. Now you can throw it over. And somebody went to the toilet in that class. And this woman with a big bun on her hair, big grey bun, called me over. She said, how many children are in this class? I said, well, I think there's 31 today. She said, incorrect. She didn't ask the teacher, she asked me. And I said, well, I was out this morning when they put the accurate numbers on the board because I had to go and make sure somebody was taken home sick. I've asked you a question. How many are in this class? So I said, well, I'll go and check with the teacher. So I said to the teacher, how many? She said, 3 went to the toilet. She said, what's she want to know that for? I said, well, she obviously thinks 3 have missed from the class. So I went back and said, 3 went to the toilet. Sure, as long as you know. And my back was to I was throwing the ball to this girl and there was a lot going on behind me. I thought, I haven't got the overview of the class. The teacher has, not me. I was sectioned off. And I thought, here we go again. I'm the communication for Ofsted here. I thought, they didn't go to the teacher. Anyway, the worst teacher in the school, the one who never did a thing, and his class was chaos. Clever old chap, pulls it out the bag and gets told he's excellent. He never did a thing. All the books hadn't got any words in, they were filthy, the kids didn't have any names on the books, he hadn't even got labels on the books, nothing. They didn't check that. He happened to do an exercise where he was sawing a piece of wood and they thought, oh, this is nice. Unbelievable. But there you have it. Ofsted don't always get it right, do they? It's a little bit of a snapshot in time. But that's a quick overview of the school. I left and then went back into Worcestershire County Council with the laptops for a bit and also reflexology. I taught reflexology. I learnt that when my son was 3 months old. So I thought I'll try a bit of alternative therapy. But it didn't particularly take off. The beauty industry is a big thing, but not everybody wants reflexology for some reason. But hey, I did that for a while. So there we have it. I hope you enjoyed my musings on that one. And next up, what will I tell you next? I'll come back to you on that one. Hello, my musings for the next place I worked at. Very, very briefly, I won't talk too much about it because it's a college for vulnerable adults. And all I'll say is that I worked long weekends in very long courses. They were like 18 hours contact time, 18 and a half hours contact time. So I was normally there 28 hours and dealing with issues. That's all I'll say. Just imagine alcohol in McDonald's cups and people fighting. That's where that'll end. And yeah, I'll move on from that one. And I'll talk about the people I've met. That sometimes people don't believe me when I've said I've met them. My sister is a counsellor, and she's been in a privileged position to actually meet some high-profile cabinet members in government. And she'd say something like, you know, do you want to meet a high-profile person tomorrow? I'll give you the place. And obviously I had to be vetted. And off we went, and I've shook hands with, well, I've said hello to David Cameron. I've shook hands and chatted to, is it Lord William Hague? I think he's a Lord now, William Hague. He was lovely. And he pushed 7 people out the way to get to me. My sister said, what have you done to him? And I said, I'm just in this room, Deb, thinking I've got to go to hospital because I'm so ill. I was really poorly. And he was so nice. And he said, who do I have the privilege of meeting? And I said, oh, I'm in support of my sister. So I didn't actually tell him my name. And we had a good old chat. And then I met Penny Mordaunt recently. She did a brilliant speech at an evening dinner. And, oh, she was flawless. And it just shows you, when I've been dealing with people in education in the state system, I often think they can't actually get up and speak. I've listened to head teachers that, you know, and I count the times they go, I mean, we're not all flawless. I mean, you do get worried when you're talking to people, and I can often repeat the same word. I'm well aware of that, but you've really got to have something about you to stand up and deliver a really good speech. And Penny Mordaunt recently was flawless in her delivery. I've got to give her 10 out of 10. She was fantastic. She kept us entertained, informed. She delivered it brilliantly. And you never know what's going on, do you, in people, what they're having to deal with on a day-to-day basis. Late of a night, having a meal in another part of the country. I thought she was fantastic. And she was also good on the day that the king got coronated. If you ever saw the coronation, she had the strength to hold up whatever it was she was holding. I can't remember what it's called now. But she held it for ages, and she was statuesque. She was absolutely, her performance was outstanding. And then who else on there? Oh, I've met Rishi Sunak only a few weeks ago. And I'd had a bit of a couple of weeks of, you know, I'd had one Monday where I had an altercation with a dreadful neighbour who's just escaped from prison. And, not escaped, but come out of prison. And he knocked on my door and started being really nasty for 40 minutes. I thought, gosh, I've only met you once. So I had one Monday where I had this chap being horrible. And the next Monday, I was shaking hands with Rishi Sunak. I just thought you couldn't write it, could you really? And he was opening up a special place not far away. And he seemed really pleasant. And it was nice to meet him. And I thought, gosh, what a privilege we've had out of the upbringing we've had, me and my sister, to meet these people. It's quite strange. I mean, if you don't believe me, check my LinkedIn account, because I've put the photograph of me and my sister shaking hands with Rishi Sunak. So I think I'll round it up there for my daily musings. And if you've got any people you've met in the past, do let me know. Oh, I will say one thing. My husband's father's cousin, my father-in-law's cousin, was the ambassador of Rome, Sir Ronald Arculus, and his wife, Lady Sheila Arculus. I've met them both in the past. They're not here anymore. They died. And I never forget when Lady Sheila came to my house in Northfield with my mother-in-law. Now, my mother-in-law was a formidable character. Formidable. And we often disagreed. I'd say I beg to differ, Anthea. And I just didn't have the right title, I don't think. But anyway, Lady Sheila was lovely. She said, can I just say something about your house in Northfield? I mean, I decorated it most myself. And she said, your house is decorated like our ambassadorial residence in Rome. And I had to laugh. Whoa! I wanted to say. I said, really? Are you sure about that? And there's my mother-in-law saying, when are you going to put the anaglypts wallpaper up on here? I don't know why you've got plain walls. I really do think you should change the curtains. So Lady Sheila gave me her approval and I was beyond thrilled, I can tell you. After I'd had this grief off my mother-in-law, put the flock wallpaper or something up, and I was going, no, I think I'll plaster the walls and paint them. And just shows you, doesn't it? I was so thrilled. And I met Sir Ronald Arkless, and I know his son and his wife and their children. They've been to stay with us. Nice family, and they had a really incredible life, split between London and Rome. And he told me once he met the Queen, and he entertained the Queen in Rome. I find it unbelievable that people have these lives. It's quite fascinating, and and what a privilege to be able to do that. I mean, to meet different people from different walks of life instead of just going to the supermarket and back. But my sort of toe has been dipped into some people's lives, and I find it quite incredible. And so that's my end of my musings today. Let me know if you've met anybody who's of note in society, and I'm just as happy meeting the lollipop lady down the road as long as they're nice. But it's just a sort of a step into another window, isn't it? A different opportunity to see other people. I find fascinating. So let me know in the comments if you've met anybody that we all might know. So bye for now. See you soon.